to our first spring town hall. That's really great to say that we're heading out of some of the winter doldrums and entering spring. So I'd like to welcome everyone who's in the room and our friends who are joining us virtually. Today's town hall, I will give an update on the college that includes our enrollment status, budget. We'll talk about some organizational change, and we will then talk about the executive orders a little bit. The team is here to assist with any questions, and then we will have some recognition of faculty with our Faculty Innovation Awards, and I have Associate Vice President Jenny Johnson here to talk about our spring gala that's coming up in April. So let me begin with our enrollment for the fall and for spring. So at the end of the fall semester, we had a town hall meeting where I shared we were 2% down in headcount for this year. This was the first semester over 7 semesters that we did not see a slight increase in enrollment count. There's several factors related to why this occurred. One is the FAFSA certainly had an impact. We've talked about the competing scholarships that are both at Rick and URI, and I might add that the biggest decline was in that population of high school graduates. That's where we saw an 8% decline. As we talked about in the fall, in December, the good news is we can certainly increase the pipeline with our adult students. Our Fresh Start Scholarship is really a proven concept in terms of how we can get adult Rhode Islanders to come back to CCRI. But nonetheless, 2% equates to $1.4 million. So all of the budget information that I shared last December, we're now adding an additional $1.4 million to that in a revenue loss. For spring, we're stabilizing. We will not have the final numbers until April, but we look like we're staying stable, but we are right in the period of drop for non-payment, VOE. So it is always a challenge to try and get a handle on exactly where we are due to these dates and deadlines that are necessary. If I can roll back to the spring for a moment, in addition to FAFSA, addition to competing scholarships that are very similar, a decreasing high school population, we also had about 1,400 students that were SAP issues, meaning satisfactory academic progression. And that is where the federal government has set some guidelines in terms of credits attempted, credits received, as well as GPA. And there are 1,400 students that started in the fall that were unable to come back without some personal support and review. And I really want to thank our advisors and counselors and financial aid people who help our students through that process. But I did want to mention that. And of course, as we remember back in August, we were at 13,000. So we lost about 1,000 students over the month of September. So this VOE and our drop for non-payment, certainly these are actions and activities that we really all have to work together to ensure they're being carried out appropriately, and particularly VOE when we are reinstating hundreds of students that inadvertently were dropped. So we appreciate faculty and staff who work with our advisors and counselors in getting those students back enrolled. It's critical. Some good news with our retention, persistence. I spoke with Vice President LaPointe yesterday, and it looks like we had a 5% gain in students who were here in the fall and returned in the spring semester. So we're up to 85%, which is phenomenal. And this work has to continue. And I want to say this is a team effort. Our students' success is our success. So I appreciate everybody's focus and attention to ensuring that our students have all the supports they need to succeed, because at the end, as I said, their success is our success. I'd like to turn to the budget now, if I could. And we will take questions after I finish this part of the presentation. So this, I think, is the best table I've seen for those of us not accountants, so thank you, Vice President Sullivan. As you know, I've been reporting, as Rich has since the beginning of the school year, on what our budget, both for closing out fiscal year 25, which is the year we're currently in, and then what we need for 26. And this is all at current service level. So we went in asking for a supplemental budget of $652,000 to the governor's office, and we got $363,000 for this year. That is $289,000 shy of what we asked for. And then we asked for $2.7 million for current service level needs for fiscal year 26. We got just about, I'm going to round up, $2.1 million, with about a shortfall of $642,000. This was primarily due to COLAs and fringe benefits, which I think mostly everybody understands. Some really good news. We received $391,000 to support and bolster our career readiness and work-based learning. So this was included in the governor's budget, and we are extremely grateful for that. We also received $800,000 for Road to Prosperity Ready to Build, and this is for our work in building out a curriculum to offer entry into the skilled trades unions and apprenticeships. So extremely good news. Capital improvements. We asked for $10.7 million. We were shy about 1.6, but we got a couple of things that we are thrilled with. $850,000 to build out hospitality and a culinary hub at the Newport campus, and to build out a workforce apprenticeship space in Lincoln campus. So overall, and I think Rich Sullivan would concur with us, you know, we are pleased and we're grateful for the budget that we have been, that has been delivered at this point. Now that was released on January 16th, and just as a reminder, it will then work its way through both the House and the Senate. So in a couple of months ahead, there will be hearings and so forth. So we're now, you know, looking at these numbers and identifying what else we need to do to close what was also a $1.4 million revenue gap. And really excited about the opportunities for hospitality, culinary, apprenticeship, as I have said many times before. We need to look at all pipelines, and this is very exciting. So stay tuned, and thank you to those of you who are involved in creating and launching these programs. So we can come back to budget questions, but I will move to the next topic, which is an organizational update. I have one major organizational update for you, and that is that as of Monday, the position of Director of Marketing and Communications is vacant. We are reviewing and preparing an updated job description for this area, and we are looking forward to a robust spring with advertising and summer to drive enrollment. So more to come. In the meantime, the leadership, my trustee chief of staff, Amy Kemp, is assuming some old mantle duties, and if there are any interim questions or ideas and thoughts. But thank you, Amy, for taking on yet another task. But we are really excited. And I have heard you loud and clear. We have got to have a very strong presence in the marketplace and advertising and make sure that we're competing at the highest level. So there'll be more updates as they develop. Federal updates. So we are aware and we're closely monitoring the executive orders and the potential implications for our college, our students, our faculty and staff. Federal agencies are working diligently to interpret these executive orders and what steps, if any, that institutions need to take to comply. Right now, our focus in this institution is to perform our due diligence in ensuring that we're keeping up with the rapidness of these executive orders, that we understand what is being put forward, what its impact is on this institution, and that we're communicating with this college at all levels, students, faculty, staff, and that we're communicating in a clear, and I don't want to say simplistic, but the simpler the better so that people understand what their roles are. We want to make sure those directions are clear. We also want to make sure that you're getting accurate information and that you're getting it in a timely way. So far, what the executive orders and other federal actions are focusing on, these are the areas. So immigration, DEI, gender identity, athletics, right to protest, Title IX, religious freedom on college campuses, freedom of speech on college campuses, and federal funding. And so what are we doing internally to manage all of these areas? As you know, there has been an executive orders committee of college stakeholders that was formed. That group, we met 2 weeks ago today, and we will be meeting again. In the next slide, you'll be able to see who the representatives are on that committee. This is not a decision-making body. I want to be very clear. It's not an activism body. It is a body to digest the information that we are that we're receiving and ensuring that we are getting information to all constituents within the college, again, in an accurate and timely manner, and that there's opportunities for questions to be brought forward to the team that's charged with initially receiving these orders. So when we go to the slide, and you don't need to advance yet, but when we go to the slide with the members, please take note of who in your area you would be asking for questions or clarification. We also have established an email for questions and concerns, and that is eoacinbox@ccri.edu. At each of these meetings, the mail is monitored daily, but we also will, if anything urgent, we will respond to, but we will be sharing those questions with the executive orders committee. We are committed to open and transparent communication with the college regarding these actions and providing responses or guidance where necessary. And I do hope over the past 2 weeks that you have had a sense of communication from me and from others on the senior team to help you in advancing your work. We have engaged legal support from Nixon Peabody in collaboration with Rhode Island College and the Office of Post-Secondary Commissioner. Immediately upon the arrival of the first flurry of executive orders, I was in contact with our commissioner. I recommended that we have a interagency group as well, and that interagency group is up and operational. The commissioner embraced it immediately. That is comprised of our representatives of chiefs of staff from RIC and CCRI, legal counsel from all three institutions and agency, as well as representatives from human resources. And the purpose of this group is to make sure that there's a deeper dive into that the two schools within the system and the commissioner's office, that we are all interpreting the information in the same way. So it's a cascading framework, and I am very pleased that the work is underway, and we've got some excellent, in addition to in-house legal counsel, excellent external legal counsel. And again, you'll see on the external side, that is the joint OPC, CCRI, RIC task force to share information, work through any issues that may require a joint action, and to work as a coalition to promote ongoing discussions with our congressional delegation. We are very, very fortunate in Rhode Island. We have an extremely strong, seasoned federal delegation that we not only individually as colleges and offices of the post-secondary education commissioner have been in contact with, but we also are working together with them as a group. So that I want to reassure you is happening, and we may not be communicating that every single day, but the work is happening behind the scenes. I believe at this point we may want to take some questions. Is that right, Amy?
Yes.
So let me go to the membership. Not my notes, so I didn't. The Executive Order Advisory Committee, as you can see, we have deans on there, we have labor representatives, campus representatives, student affairs, academic affairs, faculty senate assembly. It is, as well as advancement. We have I think, a really well-rounded group that you should be familiar with. And if you have any questions that you would like to have brought forward before that group, please work with them directly, but they should in turn, and I know they are, disseminating information to you. This is going to be a multi-level communication strategy. It's going to be hearing from the president's office through memos that go out to the community. It's going to be through this structure that we want to make sure at the department and division level, you have an opportunity to have your questions, number one, heard, and two, answered. And so that concludes my update as to the beginning of the spring semester. I do have some real fun stuff to talk about, but I thought before we got to that, this would be a good opportunity to stop and take questions. I know we had some questions that were submitted, and but please, in the room, there's a lot happening, and I want you to feel very comfortable in asking those questions, and if I can answer them, I will.
So the first question we have submitted is, what strategies is the college considering to safeguard access to the services provided by CCRI's federally funded grant programs?
Right. So let me first say, we are deeply committed to the grants that we have in this institution. They are supporting the work that you do in your classrooms, that you do in your interactions with students, and we are monitoring what will be the effect of these executive orders. So far, and I have Elise Ogden here, who in addition to her hat as HR is also an attorney, but at this point in time, we're not, there's additional clarification that we need as to what exactly is going to be leveraged with these executive orders. So another way of saying that is, we don't really know fully what is going to be the cause and effect. So in the meantime, we do our work, we carry on. What I do want to say is that we do have tens of millions of dollars in federal grants, and we would not, as a college, be able to assume accountability for those if they were taken away. So I want to be clear on that. We are in some very, very challenging times and uncertain times. And I think I speak correctly when I say, I do want to be clear that if all of a sudden we had our federal grants removed, that is not a space financially that this college could sustain. And I'm sure you have all read recently with NIH grants, where there have been finance and administrative percentages, which really help the infrastructure in those research institutions and hospitals, medical centers around the country. And we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars that is at stake. I think our colleagues at the University of Rhode Island, they're tied up about $67 million. That's at stake. So I hope that that has that answers the question to the extent. Now, this may be making its way through the federal courts. We'll be monitoring all of the progression and the action of the the judiciary and so forth on whether and what we must do. But yes, I think that is about all I can say at this point.
Question 2, are there resources in place for reporting racial or otherwise offensive comments overheard on campus, especially in an anonymous way, for those of us who may be uncomfortable confronting those making the comments?
Yes, well, I'm happy to say that we have a very robust Title IX and compliance office. I must say that in order for the college to act formally, there is not a mechanism. We must have a complainant. We must have that. I understand that confronting someone directly is uncomfortable and it's sometimes not advisable. But I would urge everyone to not tolerate those situations should you see them, because yes, we do have supports within the institution to address them. And I would say, first of all, that Office of Civil Rights and Title IX is where you can go with concerns of something that you have observed. So,
last question, for the new administration's executive orders, even if funding goes away for such efforts, how will we acknowledge and remain committed to our HSI designation and helping to create equitable supports for our Hispanic identifying students?
yes. Thank you, and thank you for the questions that were submitted previous to the meeting. Our demographics are not changing, and our work does not change. Our mission does not change. I can't say that strongly enough. We will do what we need to do. We will have more clarity about the confines with which we are going to be held to. But our mission marches on, as does our commitment to our students. We disaggregate our data. We look at student success. I think if I can leave you all with one thought today, it is about our student success and what we can do to support that. That does not in any way veer from what our commitment and our mission is as a college. It is about the students we serve, and we will continue to serve them. There's a lot of unknowns right now that I cannot tell you what this means. We are partnered with Excellencia, and I can tell you on a national level, I am very pleased that we are partnering with them. And we are all sort of in a pattern here to digest. We've been in contact with them, and they're in the same situation as they assess the orders and what the implications for for the institutions that they serve, us being one involved. But again, I do think in times of uncertainty, which is that's where we're at, really keeping a focus on what we are about and doing our work to support that is the most powerful thing we can do. And that's certainly what I'm going to do for whatever period of time I'm here. And I know almost everyone in this room, and I know that that's what you're going to work from as well.
So that actually was, I think, the only 3 questions that we had in advance that I saw. If there are other questions that I've missed, we'll be sure to put them in upcoming edition of Night Knowledge. But there's nothing quite in the chat, so if there are questions.
Questions in the room? Yes, Terry.
I have a question in regards to our DEI program. Do we have a plan to reorganize or reimagine? I know that simply renaming the DEI initiatives is not allowed under the new administration initiatives. Do we have a plan in place to continue our DEI initiatives?
I'm gonna give it to Elise, but what I can tell you right now is some of the work going on, which is really inventorying where we are. But I think I'll turn this to Elise because it does come under her area.
Thanks, Terry, and I know how committed you are to that work. So I think what we're trying to do, honestly, is I would call it an audit right now is what we're doing. We're kind of looking at places where we talk about that work and thinking about how we might react if the risk to the college gets to that point. And we don't really know what that point is yet because we're still waiting to understand kind of what the trickle down from the work that's going on at the federal government and how it will impact, a state public community college. And we just don't know that yet, but we're just trying to identify where those things might be so that if we had to, that we would kind of know the path that we would have to go down. Now, here's what I will also say is, and it's really reiterating what President Costigan just said. Our students are not going to change, and we are going to serve our students, and we're going to serve our students the best that we can, as President Costigan said, with the resources that we have. And so that's kind of the bottom line on all of it, I think, where we're coming from. And so while we're assessing and kind of doing an audit, it's not about making any changes. And I'll quote Raekwon, I don't know if he's in the room. He says, "Don't swing it at a ball that hasn't been pitched yet." So.
Thank you.
Other, yes.
Thank you so much for the updates. I just have a few questions, especially when it goes in regards to the different executive orders. I know when these orders have implemented or passed, it will create a lot of confusion and really problem among our student body. So my question to you, would there be any kind of like a hotline or any of the executive committee set up in a different department? So if I'm working on advising with students and these concerns come up on immigration or whatever, that would be from the student. How do I approach that at the same time trying to work with academics? Would there be someone that I can use as a information point person I can write the student to and say, let me give you this number, call, then you'll be able to have more detailed information, because to be quite honest, this is really, really intention already, because if I'm working with my student, these come up, I can't confuse it any further by telling them things that will really take the focus of the academics.
Right, so if I can clarify your question, you're getting questions from students
If we.
If you do,
Right
or you-
now, it's in the
that are
pipeline.
related to their immigration
Immigration or
status.
whatever the executive orders
Um,
will be.
It is, I think I can tell you, last night we had a council meeting for the post-secondary council, which is our oversight board. So we were talking about communications that can go out to both faculty, staff, students. And I'm going to say this, we're in a period of time that is very uncertain. And there's some things we can do and some things we can't do. So I think the best thing in the short term is that you utilize your supervisors or the executive committee members. We've got the email, it is checked throughout the week and daily at a minimum, probably multiple times. We have a way to get an alert. I wish I could answer this more fully. What we are committed to doing is making sure that information that is comprehensible and simple is shared with students. And there's a limit to what we actually would want to be putting, I think, and I'll speak for myself, but legally without having sort of FAQs that we could anticipate every question, that's going to be a challenge. So I think it's using your network within your departments and your division and making sure the types of questions, if you're getting them, that they're filtering to us so that we can then, get answers as quickly as possible. But I think the important thing is to not answer with any unsureness, and I'm going to let.
Is this next?
No, I was gonna turn it off.
But Kara, I think Kara can
It's
help
Kara,
answer.
yeah.
Yeah, she's right over here, but you can stand up and perhaps use the microphone. Use the mic.
Hi, Kara DePaola. I'm on the Executive Order Advisory Committee, the Office of Civil Rights and Title IX. I have received some questions from students specific to the executive orders. Are their rights or protections changing here? I just want to emphasize this committee exists. We have our finger on the pulse of what is happening. I believe we will be communicating out when there are relevant changes. If you haven't heard anything, it's because there's not a change yet. The executive orders don't necessarily impact us on a dime. They have very different legal powers, kind of depending on what they are, who they're aimed to. So I really would emphasize, use the inbox. I would say, don't try to riff, don't try to interpret it yourself. We have folks who have their finger on the pulse, so I hope that that's comforting. We're very aware this is something that my office, as far as Title IX, gender equity, and athletics, I'm looking into it every single day, and I know other people around the college are doing the same thing as well. So I hope that that helps.
Yeah, other questions?
I have one in the chat,
You have one?
not about this stuff. Oh, okay.
There's one question in the chat about executive orders.
Okay, let's see.
So the question is, are there any student groups or clubs talking about executive orders? Are we aware of any efforts being made by students? I had a student ask me that yesterday and they want to get involved.
I'm going to defer that to, can Amy or, is Emma here? Oh, Emma, would you?
Yeah, as of right now, no. But there's certainly opportunity if students want to chat with student engagement, they can come to us directly. Happy to chat with that particular student or any student about this.
And Emma, wasn't there a resource, was it a group that came in or you had,
Yeah, we've hosted our CCRI resource fairs in the last few weeks, as we would typically with welcoming students back for the spring semester. And then Tuesday, the 25th, we'll be hosting a community resource fair, so bringing in the local Rhode Island supports that can directly support our students as well. That's 11 to 1, Tuesday, the 25th in the Great Hall.
Thank you. And then maybe we can send another communication out once that event has taken place for those that couldn't
Of course.
attend.
Right? The one question, and I think we get this every town hall, so there's a lot of anticipation. Any? Do we have any updates on when we will move to the new students?
It's the man of the hour.
We will be moved into new student services no later than June 20th. Barring any unforeseen circumstances.
And it is gorgeous, and David, thank you and your team for, the work and the speed, because this is one of those projects that went a little faster than we anticipated. And certainly a huge thanks to the student affairs team that relocated for a couple of years. So thank you all. I think you're going to be very, very pleased with that space. It looks beautiful.
There is another a question in the chat, if I can. So how are our workforce students? Or can we include our workforce students in the communications that we send out to our academic credit enrolled students? If that's, I should probably.
No, it's a great suggestion. I think we just have to, we'll get back to the office and see how we do that. I know that we, right now, do not have a CRM that's integrated between both sides, but certainly I believe that is absolutely doable, and I thank the questioner for that.
We will make it happen.
Yes, we will make it happen. Thank you.
Just make sure.
I was just gonna say, Emma, you should just talk about, for the previous question, you have the What Up Wednesdays, which happens as a forum for students to bring issues like that was discussed, so it's if I'm wrong, just tell me if I'm off.
We just finished the last one.
All right, well,
Student engagement has been hosting weekly, kind of like focus groups. There's been a different topic every week. This week we did all about Love Your Libraries, where we talked about all the amazing opportunities there are with the library. Last week it was financial aid. So there are certainly opportunities for students to gather. I also serve as the chair of the Staff Assembly Student Success Committee, and we'll be working on supporting our student government with an upcoming town hall, not necessarily associated with any of the orders coming down, but just for students just to be in community with one another, talk about any concerns that they may have.
Emma, if I can follow up with the person on the chat with regards to the students looking for an interest in student clubs. This is an online-only student, so are there opportunities for online-only students to get involved, maybe not on campus, but in a virtual manner? And how would should we just have them connect with you?
Yeah, have them connect directly with us. Great.
Other questions? How about in the room? Other questions? Yes.
I just wanted to say, these are really uncertain times, and my fiance is a federal worker, so it is very stressful for us. And I feel so lucky to have this team, because to have probably some of the greatest minds and people that are so dedicated to helping everyone from all around the world. You're all awesome, and I'm so lucky to work there. So thank you all.
That's what makes us very special. So, and I say that collectively. Thank you very much, because we need to lean on each other. during the days and weeks and months ahead. And continue to have the mission always at the center of what we're doing. And I am eternally grateful for all of you. I think we can write a book at the end of our journeys by surviving the pandemic and surviving executive orders. So we've all experienced a lot, but and my heart goes out for your, your fiance?
Fiance, yeah.
Fiance, yeah. No, I mean, things at the federal level are happening very rapidly. And, that's all I'm gonna say. So, I appreciate it. Are there any other questions? I see Chief Hopkins is here, so I'm not putting him on the spot, but thank you, Chief. Thank you to your department. As you know, with the directive that went out as guidance for faculty and staff on if there was concern, and they, HR and other offices had received lots of questions on, what to do if ICE came in and so forth. And I just want to take a moment to recognize our chief and his officers, because it's not just ICE. They deal with external agencies all the time. So the best thing, and we'll continue to reinforce this, what you should do, but the best thing is to make those referrals to the police department, and they will have chief and officer in charge will manage from there, because we don't expect and don't want you trying to determine what is a legitimate warrant or anything else. The best thing is get the information, and we'll make sure that that is a continuous flow of reminders for that. But thank you to you and your team as well. Other questions? Well, let's go to a little brighter note and a much, I think, less sobering. Let's say that, less sobering. I am so thrilled. When I was BPAA, through Raising Opportunities, we actually were able to start a faculty fund. And this year, it's our third year, and 5 of our faculty have been awarded a scholarship to continue developing. They had 13 high-quality submissions. We selected 5, and this is to advance the work in their field. It goes everywhere from nursing, we've got social sciences, biology, cybersecurity, our behavioral sciences, and I think you may all know one or more of our faculty, but kudos to them. We are so excited, and we're looking forward to what comes out of this year for them as they received this award. So congratulations. I know you enjoy it, and I know you join me in congratulating the faculty. And this is a really, really, I would say they're all very, very interesting projects, and we'll follow how they do as they unfold. So congratulations to these faculty members. I'm going to turn it over to our AVP for advancement, and Jenny will take us home with what's happening on the party time.
Thank you. Thank you, President Costigan. And it's a perfect segue into the quick summary I'll give. So I had reported a little while back at this town hall that our Raising Opportunities 60th anniversary Diamond Gala. You see we're putting some images of Diamond. The 60th, as President Costigan pointed out to us, is a diamond year. And we're gonna be holding that on April 25th at the Waterfire Arts Center. Just wanna say, a little bit about the history of Raising Opportunities. As most of you would know, we've traditionally held it on one or more of our campuses, and we do have a vibrant and beautiful campus in Providence that wouldn't be conducive to the event, but we thought it was really important. It is the home of so many of our students, and it's our capital city, so we're really excited to be having it at that venue this year. I won't give a spoiler alert to the program development, but we are really focusing this year on telling our story, telling the story of the CCRI community, telling the story of 60 years and over 80,000 alumna, of which myself and President Costigan and many of you in this room, I'm sure, are proud to be, and our faculty, our staff, our students, all of what make up this really beautiful community. And so it will really be a chance to look back and look ahead, and as President Costigan said, take a moment to celebrate the work that we're doing, particularly in times of challenge. We are aiming for myself and my amazing team, hopefully many of whom are watching right now. We want to bring together 500 people and raise $500,000, and that those critical resources we raise on that night and through the donations and table sales, and they go, back into our community. So we just talked about the Faculty Innovation Awards. We have the Student Emergency Relief Fund. We have scholarships. So we're going to really focus on making sure that we leave that event with even more resources. I hear from so many of you, and in addition to these awards, we get the requests for important needs for students or things that you want to do to help our students. So we want to sort of make sure that our tank is full to be able to propel you to do that work. And I don't think I missed anything. We will be sending out the paper invitations very soon. And as you can see, there's a registration link that will have the contact information of, so if you do have specific questions about anything to do with the event, Robin McDuff on the advancement team, who you can connect with through this link, is more than happy to answer them. We hope that as many of you as possible are going to join in this celebration. You all deserve to be a part of it as well. And did I miss it? Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Any other questions in the room? We have the team here, so I don't know, we have a couple of minutes. If you have any, or just anyone on the team have anything that we didn't cover that you think we missed? No, okay. Well, this is a good meeting. We have adjourned, so thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone.